congratulations to Anna and the Black Hills Community Loan Fund. Your support of Indigenous artists really illustrates the ingenuity of Native CDFIs and the resiliency of the communities you serve. And thank you, Nate and Wells Fargo, for sponsoring the Native Awards and providing scholarships for the hundreds of Native CDFI practitioners to attend the conference. The Native CDFI Awards uplift Native CDFIs and community development leaders who are fighting so hard to create economic growth in Native American, Native Alaskan, and Native Hawaiian communities. Led and run by tribal members with a deep knowledge of tribal history, Native CDFIs open access to capital for passionate and skilled and entrepreneurial Native people who are held back only by a lack of access to capital. They help undo years of disinvestment in Indian country. Today, more than 70 Native CDFIs are making meaningful and sustainable investments and tackling some of the greatest needs in Indian country. With capital and financial programs and services, Native CDFIs are opening opportunity for individual tribal members and entire communities. And while Native CDFIs are vital all the time, during the COVID-19 crisis, they've gone even deeper to serve Native communities that continue to reel from the health and economic impacts of a persistent pandemic. The Native CDFI sector is essential, and so much credit in building the power of Native CDFIs goes to OISTA and the Native CDFI Network. Both provide resources and voice to this much needed part of our CDFI industry. And I'm proud to say that OFN is committed to growing our partnership with OISTA and the Native CDFI Network and expanding our work with Native CDFIs. Just this year, OFN worked with the Native CDFI Network to launch a Native CDFI community on CDFI Connect, our online community for CDFIs. We now have 29 Native CDFI members and will continue to encourage more Native CDFIs to join and leverage our network. Together, we're stronger in the hard work of aligning capital with justice for Native communities. It's justice hundreds of years overdue. But tonight, we celebrate together, and I'm so delighted to introduce the 2020 Native CDFI Catalyst Awardee. The Native CDFI Catalyst Award is a $100,000 grant for one Native CDFI offering a strategy with great potential. And this year, the award goes to Cook Inlet Lending Center in Alaska. Cook Inlet Lending Center was founded in 2001 by Cook Inlet Housing Authority to serve low to moderate income households in the Cook Inlet region of Alaska who lack access to affordable financial products and services. Initially, the CDFI focused on increasing access to homeownership for Alaska Natives and underserved home buyers. But in 2019, Cook Inlet Lending expanded its focus into small business lending in order to increase access to capital for historically underserved entrepreneurs. Now, Cook Inlet Lending has received the 2020 Native CDFI Catalyst Award for its innovative business stabilization strategy, designed to help Anchorage small businesses ride out the current COVID-19 related recession. With a combination of flexible financial products and supportive services, the CDFI's approach will support small businesses immediately and in the longer term. Cook Inlet Lending will use its $100,000 Native Catalyst Award grant to build the staff capacity required to successfully implement its strategy. And it's now my pleasure to warmly introduce Carol Gore, President and CEO of Cook Inlet Housing Authority, and Jeff Tickle, General Manager of Cook Inlet Lending Center.
Shemai, and greetings from Alaska, or perhaps more correctly, greetings from my home to yours. I'm Carol Gore, and I sincerely wish we were meeting in person. I have the honor and privilege to serve as President and CEO of Cook Inlet Housing Authority and our nonprofit Native CDFI, Cook Inlet Lending Center. I'm of forever Alaskan of Aleut descent, the granddaughter of Alexandra Sasha Crawford and Charles Joe Cooper. My mom is one of 12 children who grew up in the village of Ninilchik, where my ancestors lived a subsistence life on the Dena'ina lands and waters, now known as the Cook Inlet region of South Central Alaska. I came to this work with a strong belief that Native people know community better than anyone. The people who live in my mom's village do not support one another because they look similar or have shared ancestry. They just support one another, knowing that everyone is essential and everyone matters. That philosophy has been our inspiration for Cook Inlet Lending Center. I'm immensely proud to lead a Native CDFI that creates opportunities for all the people who live in our region of Alaska. The strength of our work comes through our investment in empowering people and building communities through the construction and operation of affordable housing, provision of homeownership opportunities, and investments in emerging businesses. Today, I give a heartfelt thank you to OFN, to First Nations Owista, and to Wells Fargo for recognizing Cook Inlet Lending Center with a 2020 Native CDFI Catalyst Award. We're honored and truly grateful for your support. As the National Association of CDFIs, OFN plays a critical role in our industry. You're one voice that we need a strong advocate and a mentor when we seek to improve our capacity to do good work in the communities we serve. And sometimes, like today, you are also a financial resource. For each of those roles, we appreciate you deeply. Cook Inlet Lending Center was initially created to provide pathways to affordable homeownership for the Alaska Native and Native American people in our region. As Cook Inlet Lending Center grew in capacity and experience, we recognize that the incredible potential of the communities we serve is constrained by the lack of affordable capital for emergency businesses. We identified local partners with expertise in the provision of technical assistance to small businesses, and together we launched a modest business lending program. But just as we came out of the gate, the pandemic struck. Within a few months of launching our small business lending program, we were asked to administer nearly $20 million in emergency stabilization grants for small businesses and nonprofits in our region. As I'm sure many of our CDFI peers know all too well, it was a huge lift to design and implement these new programs in just a matter of weeks. Our team rose to the challenge, and I could not be more proud of our general manager, Jeff Tickle, who led the charge with an equal measure of grace and grit. Jeff and his team have supported hundreds of small businesses and nonprofits, deploying the resources they need to address the economic challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. It mattered to me that our Native CDFI chose to lead this effort, investing in people and community. Koyana, and I'll now hand it over to Jeff Tickle, our general manager.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you, OFN. Native CDFIs and CDFIs across the country have already played a critical role in mitigating the economic impact of the pandemic. But we all have so much more work to do in the months and years ahead. This public health crisis has disproportionately affected lower income communities and people of color, and all indications are that the disparity will persist as the pandemic drags on. Nowhere is that as true as it is in our Alaska Native and American Indian communities, whether on reservation, in pueblos, rancherias, and villages, or in the most overlooked neighborhoods in our cities. Native people are watching and waiting for a response to this pandemic that is fair and equitable and just. As CDFIs, it is our duty to rise to the moment. This is the type of financial environment in which we were created to operate. We balance compassion and financial accountability to support small businesses, consumers, and community projects that mainstream finance views as providing too little profit to justify the risk. Our work creates jobs that pay wages family can live on. We empower entrepreneurs who cannot access capital from traditional sources to chase their potential. We deliver resources that build affordable homes. We invest in the promise of people and the places in which they live. At Cook Inlet Lending Center, our response to the pandemic was a quick shift from a business growth mindset to one of business preservation. Knowing that there were no other small business micro lenders in Anchorage, we quickly researched best practices and pivoted to develop a phased strategy to address the pandemic's impacts on small business owners. Our research, combined with experience administering a small business stabilization program for the municipality of Anchorage, led us to develop a three-pronged business stabilization strategy, which we call Survive, Adapt, and Thrive. First and most important, survive. We must provide grant funding for small business owners to meet their immediate fixed and operating expenses. Secondly, adapt. Pair business technical assistance with 0 to 1% interest, partially forgivable loans with terms of 12 to 18 months, giving businesses the opportunity to adapt their business models in response to the current crisis. Third and finally, thrive. Even when we emerge from this crisis, small businesses will have an increased need for longer-term patient capital at below market rates. Providing this capital will help businesses to return to a growth mindset once their immediate needs for relief capital have been met and they strategically adapted their business models. Again, Cook Inlet Lending Center deeply appreciates this humbling acknowledgement from OFN. It's safe to say that each of us can use a pick-me-up right now and then during these challenging times. And this is certainly a special kind of morale boost. Thank you to OFN, thank you to Oista Corporation, and thank you to Wells Fargo for providing incredible support to Cook Inlet Lending Center and so many other native CDFIs. And mostly, thank you to all the CDFIs working so hard right now to respond to this historic challenge. Thank you.